Hello, my movie maniacs. Hope you're hungry today because the film I've got for you is definitely one that should satiate your appetite for a certain type of film. And I'm talking about Main Street Meats, which showed at the New Horror Film Festival last month. Sorry, I'm a little late with my review with this film, but here we have some Wisco-grown horror film with Jeff Lyon as the director and writer of the story of this trio of siblings who run a meat market in a small town, and they're on the ropes and they're in some dire straits, and they could be closing it soon. But they soon hit upon a specific type of meat that seems to be a hit with everyone. The problem is this meat isn't exactly the easiest to come by, and it tends to fight back. And so we see how this family tries to deal with this newfound fame and a temporary employee by the name of Cherry who is working for them and juggling to harvest this meat that everybody loves. Jeff Lyon, you could tell, is a fan of Herschel Gordon Lewis, and not only does Herschel Gordon Lewis make a vocal cameo in this film, but this film just feels like one of his. It's really done in the spirit of the godfather of gore's films, especially Blood Feast, and I loved that. I loved what they were going for, and I think Jeff Lyon really accomplishes that. Main Street Meats has a lot of meat to it, if you will, pun intended, of course, as far as the grindhouse elements in here. It's got your gore, all practical gore in here looked fantastic. The props, the body parts, everything in here, the meat, really visceral and just grimy and bloody, and I loved the look of the gore in here, to the humor that Herschel Gordon Lewis's films had, to even the nudity you had in here, the nudie cuties. You could tell there was a little bit of an ode to that as well. Those type of films that HGL made. All of this, you could tell, is a send-up to that, but at the same time, Jeff Lyon was trying to make his own film, and I think he accomplished that. All these characters in here are crazy fun to watch. In fact, this whole film is just a whole lot of crazy fun, but these characters help add to that. I mean, Steve Gola's Floyd character was great to watch. You know, Don Marcus in here as Nettie, I loved his character. Even down to the guy who's credited as Mechanic 1, Gary Albano. I loved all of these characters. They felt, just fitting for where this character Cherry shows up. Now, Cherry was played by Morgan Boland, who we've seen in Dead of the Night, and she's kind of the eyes of the audience. She's the straight person, if you will, who's happened upon this quirky small town with some interesting tastes in meat. And she played off everybody very well. There's some great chemistry here. Who really stood out for me was Stacy Weber playing the crazy sister character. Wow, I mean, I think this was her first time really on screen, and she just nails this part. It's like, man, she is just whacked, and she captured that spirit well. And she even gets a fun fight scene in here with the Cherry character later on, which really looked a lot better than I would have expected from an indie film, because sometimes these fight scenes really feel forced and rough and slow, but that one, these two really go at it. The editing and direction of this film were really well done. The storyline moves along, though I will say there were a couple spots where I was hoping they maybe trimmed it, or they could have taken a couple scenes out. It did get a little long for me. I still enjoyed what was on screen, but I think they could have shortened it just a little bit. But overall, it did not take away from my enjoyment, and especially sitting in a crowd where everybody's laughing when they're supposed to laugh, and also cringing when they're supposed to cringe, is a part of the fun of Main Street Meats. So, if you have seen Main Street Meats, please leave your comments down below. If you haven't, keep an eye out for it. I'll put a link down below. You can follow up with them on their Facebook page on where they're at. Hopefully they can get distribution so more people can get a taste of Main Street Meats, a wild, crazy, zany comedy that'll satiate the appetite of those who love HGL's movies and also those who are fans of indie horror films. And that'll about do it for us here at The Final Cut. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, till next time, keep that ticket stub.